Hi everyone, happy Victober. I hope that you are enjoying the most wonderful time of the year. And I wanted to talk about the best Victorian literature that I have read this year. The top books. If you have been following my channel this year, then you will know that I have made it a goal this year to read 25 Victorian novels. The main catalyst for that goal is so that then I can do a ranking of the next 50 Victorian books that I have read. Because I had so much fun doing ranking 100 Victorian novels, or 100 Victorian books, because they're not all novels. And I want to do more of that. So I want to rank 50 Victorian books as the next thing. And that'll be, I think, maybe not happening until 2024. But I am planning on doing that. And it has been so much fun this year to keep the Victorian literature love going. And I have not burned out. I was a little bit worried, but I think if I had tried to do 50, so that then I could have had 100 more Victorian books to rank, I could have burnt out. But I didn't, so it's okay. The best Victorian literature I read this year, the first one is Chantry House by Charlotte Mary Yonge. And that was such a lovely way to start out the reading year. And I really just find Charlotte Mary Yonge's books so consistently enjoyable. And there's a real warmth and sentimental feel to them. And it's kind of following families as they're doing their daily life. And it sounds kind of mundane, but if you like an author's writing, the more mundane plots, you will still get along with. And there's something so special about her writing. And this also has a bit of a ghost story plot to it. So that was a really fun kind of new thing to see from Charlotte Mary Yonge. And I just really enjoy spending time in her stories, in her writing, finding out what's going to happen to these characters that she makes you love so quickly. And then the next one that I read was The Perpetual Curate. This definitely took a bit longer than Chantry House because I find Margaret Oliphant's writing, I don't jive with it as well. Her writing definitely feels more like work as I read it. But as I'm saying that, it definitely feels worth it because I'm so happy that I read The Perpetual Curate. It was such an enjoyable and delightful story to spend time in. And it felt like I'm so happy that I read it because it was just a really solid Victorian novel following this small community in Carlingford. This is one of the stories in her Carlingford Chronicles, and it's the one that I've liked the most out of them. I read Salem Chapel, and then I can't remember the name of the other one, right at the beginning of the series, and I did enjoy those. I read Miss Marchbanks, which is in the middle of the series, and did not enjoy that at all. But then The Perpetual Cure, I thoroughly enjoyed. So very happy to have found one in that series that I really loved. And I think Phoebe Jr. is the next one in that series that I will read. Then the next one is The Young Pretenders. This is a children's book and put out by Persephone Classics. And this is one that I was a bit underwhelmed as I started reading it. One, because her writing style is so unique and distinct, and it really caught me off guard how it was. And I can't really explain to you what it was that was different. It's just if you read it, you know. And I don't know what I was expecting, but it just felt different. And so I thought, oh, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. And then the longer that I kept reading, and it is a children's book, so it was not challenging to continue with it. And now it's just, I have a very positive memory of it. So I think it's the quaintness of the story I wasn't expecting. But as I finish it, it's a very positive memory, and it's one that I'm like, okay, I definitely want to reread that at some point, and I'm really glad that I did read it. Then the next one was Idylls of the King, and this is in a completely different category from these other books. This is such a powerful work of poetry, and it involves Arthurian legends and people making so many bad decisions. That's what I was astounded by, just how many terrible decisions people make. But Tennyson's writing in this is astounding, and it's an amazing feat of literature that he took on, and then it felt like a feat to get through it. But it was a really just worthy endeavor, and I'm so glad that I finally got to it. I've been meaning to read it for years, and if you are all toying with reading Idylls of the King by Tennyson, I highly recommend it. It's just delicious, and all of the people who love stories, I think, should read Idylls of the King. Then the next one was Can You Forgive Her by Trollope. Can You Forgive Her? I'm so glad I gave it a third try. I've tried Can You Forgive Her 3 times, and the third time was the charm. And when I fell for it so hard. What I loved is that Trollope, this was a kind of atypical plot in that there was one really dark plot element. And this year I've been very hit or miss with being in a mood for mysteries. And so having a Trollope novel that had a darker plot element, it was like exactly what I needed at that time in my reading life. And, you know, you're being introduced to this huge cast of characters and seeing all of the people that you're going to be spending time with. There was something about it, kind of just the hugeness of the story that was really overwhelming to take on with all the world building at first. But once you're in, I just found it so rewarding. Okay, then the next one was Countess Kate by Charlotte Mary Yonge. And this is a little novella by Charlotte Mary Yonge. And I found the character of Kate so endearing. She, to me, felt a bit like kind of in between Anne Shirley and Jo March. Although they are kind of similar characters. I feel like Anne Shirley is a bit more like talks to the fairies kind of thing. And just Kate inherits a title. She becomes a countess. She's this girl, and she is not really cut out for the job. She is not this refined young lady. She is a rough and tumble girl. She loves to play actively. She loves to have her freedom, all of that. And so I found her just so delightful to spend time with. It is a really simple, quiet kind of novella, but written in Charlotte Mary Yonge's delightful style. I can't recommend it enough. And then the next one was The Trumpet Major by Thomas Hardy. This one took me completely by surprise, falling in love with the Thomas Hardy. I did not know I was capable of that, but it happened. And this one is a wild ride. If you want a wild, unpredictable ride with a love pentagon, this is a great one to try. Now, I will say, I don't really ever come out of a Thomas Hardy being like, oh, I loved this character and this character and this character. I appreciate them for their literary merit and the interesting plots that happen. That's kind of my reading experience. So that's why they'll never rank as high as a Gaskell or Eliot or Charlotte Mary Yonge. But that being said, it was just really fun to read. So yeah, super fun. And then the last one on this list is The Moorland Cottage by Elizabeth Gaskell. And this was, it's a novella, and I think it's only because I love Gaskell's writing so much that it is ranked in this list. I think maybe some people would read it and be like, what is all the fuss about? I think it's pretty simple, but I love her writing so much. And it's just pure poetry in this book. And so I really highly recommend The Moorland Cottage. And it was actually the inspiration for George Eliot's The Mill on the Floss. I just lost my train of thought. It was the inspiration for The Mill on the Floss. So that's interesting already. And so kind of there's this major dynamic of sibling rivalry within it. And it's really interesting to see how it unfolds and plays out within that. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about the best Victorian literature that I read this year. Hopefully there's some ones during Victober, during this month, that will be worthy of this list. But obviously I haven't read them yet, so I can't add them to the list. Thank you as always for watching, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye!